Mark Rothko is one of the most influential figures of abstract expressionism. With his monumental color-field paintings, vast canvases filled with floating rectangles of luminous color, Rothko created experiences that were less about looking at art and more about feeling it. His works weren't meant to be decoration. They were meant to engulf viewers, to surround them with color, and to open up deep emotional states: grief, awe, transcendence, and even silence. Rothko believed that painting could be a direct path to the soul. Over the years, his vision has been celebrated in major exhibitions that have become legendary in the art world. These shows reveal how Rothko transformed abstract painting into an almost spiritual encounter. Let's explore the most iconic Rothko exhibits that defined his legacy and continue to captivate audiences worldwide. The Peggy Guggenheim Gallery, New York, 1945, the early breakthrough. In 1945, Rothko held his first solo show at Peggy Guggenheim's Art of This Century Gallery in New York. At this point, he wasn't yet painting the glowing rectangles we know today. Instead, his works were surrealist-inspired, filled with biomorphic shapes and mythological references. This exhibition was crucial because it introduced Rothko to the New York art scene at a time when the city was becoming the new center of modern art. While critics didn't yet view him as a master, the show planted the seeds of his career, establishing him as a painter to watch. The Betty Parsons Gallery, New York, 1950s, entering the color fields. By the early 1950s, Rothko had moved into his mature style, the color field paintings that would define his legacy. At Betty Parsons Gallery, Rothko showed large canvases filled with hovering blocks of color that seemed to radiate light. These works were shocking at the time. They had no figures, no objects, no traditional subject matter, just color, scale, and emotion. Some viewers were moved to tears, while others were baffled. But it was clear that Rothko had found something unique. The Betty Parsons shows marked the birth of Rothko as the Rothko we know today. Museum of Modern Art, New York, 1961, first major retrospective. In 1961, the Museum of Modern Art presented Rothko's first major retrospective, featuring more than 100 paintings. This exhibition confirmed him as one of the central figures of abstract expressionism. Critics praised the emotional depth of his canvases, while visitors described feeling overwhelmed by their sheer size and presence. Rothko insisted on controlling how his work was displayed. He wanted his paintings hung low, close together, and in dim light, so viewers could feel enveloped by them. MoMA's retrospective gave audiences their first taste of Rothko's vision of art as a total environment, not just an object to glance at. The Rothko Chapel, Houston, 1971, a spiritual monument. Perhaps the most powerful exhibit of Rothko's career isn't in a museum at all, it's a chapel. Completed in 1971 in Houston, Texas, the Rothko Chapel features 14 massive canvases painted specifically for the space. Dark, meditative fields of deep maroons, purples, and blacks surround visitors in near silence. Though Rothko died in 1970 before the chapel opened, it stands as the ultimate realization of his vision: art as a sacred, spiritual experience. People from all faiths, and even those with none, come to sit in the chapel and absorb the quiet power of Rothko's paintings. It remains one of the most unique and moving art experiences in the world. National Gallery of Art, Washington, D.C., 1978, a landmark retrospective. In 1978, the National Gallery of Art mounted one of the most comprehensive Rothko retrospectives to date. It presented over 200 works, from his early figurative paintings to his final somber canvases. This show was particularly important because it allowed audiences to trace Rothko's entire journey. Visitors could see how he went from painting subway scenes in the 1930s to mythological imagery in the 1940s to the transcendent color fields of the 1950s and 60s. The exhibition drew massive crowds and cemented Rothko's reputation as one of the most profound voices of post-war art. Tate Modern, London, 2008. Rothko, the late Seagram murals. In 2008, London's Tate Modern hosted one of the most acclaimed Rothko exhibitions of the century, the late Seagram murals. Back in the late 1950s, Rothko had been commissioned to paint a series of murals for the Four Seasons restaurant in New York. But when he saw the luxurious setting, he withdrew, deciding his paintings didn't belong there. Instead, he donated some of the works to the Tate. The 2008 exhibition reunited the Seagram murals from collections around the world, displaying them in low light as Rothko intended. Critics described it as haunting and transformative, one of the most powerful museum experiences ever staged. Fondation Louis Vuitton, Paris, 2023 to 2024, a modern blockbuster. Most recently, the Fondation Louis Vuitton in Paris mounted a monumental Rothko retrospective from 2023 to 2024. This was one of the largest Rothko shows ever, featuring more than 100 works from across his entire career. The exhibition moved chronologically, beginning with his early figurative paintings, progressing through his surrealist period, and culminating in his late, dark canvases. Visitors were able to witness the full arc of his artistic journey, ending with the works created just before his death. The Paris show attracted global attention, drawing hundreds of thousands of visitors and reaffirming Rothko's place as one of the greatest painters of the modern era. Why these exhibits matter? Each of these exhibitions highlighted a different side of Rothko's genius. Guggenheim and Betty Parsons introduced his early breakthroughs. MoMA gave him institutional recognition. The Rothko Chapel transformed painting into a spiritual space. The National Gallery revealed his entire evolution. The Tate Modern Seagram murals showed his mastery of mood and environment. The Fondation Louis Vuitton presented him to a new generation on a massive scale. Together, these shows reveal why Rothko's work continues to resonate. His paintings are not about style or technique. They are about emotion, about creating a space where viewers can confront silence, awe, and the depth of human existence. Mark Rothko once said, "I'm not interested in relationships of color or form. I'm interested only in expressing basic human emotions, tragedy, ecstasy, doom, and so on." His exhibitions bring those words to life. Whether in the quiet of the Rothko Chapel or the vast halls of MoMA and Tate Modern, his works create an environment where viewers can feel, reflect, and connect with something larger than themselves. Even decades after his passing, Rothko's exhibits remain among the most moving in modern art. They are not simply shows of paintings. They are experiences, immersive, emotional, and unforgettable. So, which Rothko exhibition would you most want to experience in person? The meditative calm of the Rothko Chapel, the haunting Seagram murals at Tate, or the recent Paris blockbuster? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more journeys through the greatest art exhibitions of all time.